Gustavo Adolfo Uribe here, and I'm going to talk about uh, some ways that you can sound like a pro on the microphone. Okay, so if you're an aspiring singer or rapper or whatever, I'm gonna show you some things that you may have thought of or may have not have thought of, and I think that they're kind of overlooked on some of the stuff I've seen on YouTube. So I wanted to share my insights to this. Okay, so I put my notes here so I could keep on track. Okay, so first thing I want to talk about, if you want to sound like a pro on the mic, you gotta do a vocal warm up. Okay, so when before you do your mic or your recording, or any type of singing in general, even if you're rapping, because in my opinion, a rapper is a singer. Okay, it's a form of singing. So uh, do your warm up, okay, and I'll have a video on that of how I do my warm up. But basically, you do your vocal exercises and you get all your body, warmed up, your vocals warmed up, and then that way, when you're on the mic, um, you sound musical, because when you warm up, the way I show you, I do it, you actually activate your diaphragm, your chest voice, your mid voice, and your head voice, your falsetto. You activate it with breathing exercises, techniques, and then that way the it's like, when you're doing exercise and you stretch, it's kind of like that, and then everything kind of sounds smooth, and you could shift gears like a car, like shift your tones or whatever, and everything is just easier, like warming up a V8 or whatever. Just gotta warm it up a little bit, and then it's ready to go. So that's step number one. Step or technique two, whatever, is a tone of voice. Okay, this is, I think, really really important, especially in the rap land. But no one that I've known really talks about it, or they really don't understand it on a technical level. Okay, I'll explain. Um, Tone of voice. There's basically, like I said before, there's three gears. Okay, um, in your vocals. So there's low, chest, medium, and head. Right. So three of them. Okay, and not only that, but there's a placement, a vocal placement, to get different tones or timbres, right? So, for example, if I use my chest voice like this, I haven't warmed up, by the way, so just, for the sake of this video, but let's say I'm using my chest voice, right? And it sounds kind of like, kind of warm or whatever, kind of blah, 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 blah. Now, let's say I'm going to switch to like a more nasally tone. So I'm gonna use more like mid tone, mid voice, and the air is gonna go through kind of the nasal cavities. So right now it's low, but right now I'm gonna be speaking in a nasal tone. So if I don't know if you can tell on the mic of the video, but right now I'm speaking kind of nasally, and right now I can feel my right here, my sinus is like kind of vibrating more, right? So I can sound even really nasally, so you can hear it right now. I'm speaking very, very nasally, and some rappers speak kind of rap like that. Sometimes I hear like Eminem and Kendrick Lamar, they'll have this really nasally tone. I'm not a fan of that, but whatever. Um, but by being a little bit nasally, you can hear the consonants a little bit better. Right, so that's some of the pros of that. Um, it's another example is like a kind of a let's say, um, when you're trying to get an aggressive sound, right? Aggressive sounds, tones are kind of like what I would consider like a like a Michael Jackson or like a DMX, where it's like really just in your face. So what kind of sounds like is they're kind of using a lot of like throat, you know. So like Michael Jackson or whatever, he'll use like kind of right here. If you could hear it right now, I'm kind of doing more like a throat. Now I'm not trying to force it through my throat, but now it's like it's on right now, you know, and I could really punch it. The secret to doing an aggressive sound though is that you don't really want to produce the sound from your throat, but you're really activating more of your diaphragm, and you're kind of just kind of placing it right here. So you're kind of placing it here, and you're gonna shout like this and blah 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 blah. But it's got to be supported in your by your diaphragm, right? So that's kind of a technique there. And then if you want to sound light or whatever, you could use more of like a falsetto head voice. So like, I'm gonna speak more like this, and it's gonna sound real smooth for the ladies, you know what I'm saying? But I can feel this resonating here, and I'm just gonna speak like this, real pimp, real fly, yeah, 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 you know what I'm saying? Yeah, 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 you know what I'm saying? So that's examples of tones through different, using your vocal instrument, like a saxophone or whatever, you know. Okay. And if it doesn't make sense to you, like it sounds like I'm full of shit, put a comment in my video and I'll go more into detail, because it is a complicated way to explain vocal techniques and stuff, because it's very it's very internalized. You have to feel it, and it takes a while to really identify what part of your body is doing what. Anyways, okay, moving on. Okay, let's see breathing. Okay, breathing. Now, for me, a dead giveaway of like a rookie rapper or singer or whatever is you're gonna hear a lot of breathing sounds in the vocals. So like I remember like early Kanye, he'd be like rapping and rapping and rapping and rapping, rapping and rapping. So you could hear like the inhale. And to me, that sounds really ugly. No offense to Kanye, but that was like early Kanye. I don't know if he fixed that or not, but it was really, really noticeable. So another rappers, especially like lyrical type rappers, where their aesthetic is more of a lyrical battling type of rapper. It's more of like a talking dictative delivery. Or theater delivery, if you will. And that you could hear a lot of breathing with that style too. Like, I saw about the bottom on the rider, but batter, but some on the rider, bottom was dropping the blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? It's like a singer with breathing technique control. You're not gonna hear breathing sounds. Okay, breathing sounds are gonna be musical. Okay, let me explain. When you think of the phrasing, the musical phrasing of the line or whatever, you're gonna the breath is gonna be integrated into the phrase. So for example, like that, right? Like so like the breath is kind of like if it was like a wave of the ocean, it would be like kind of right if you're like singing it or doing it like a pimp voice, yeah yeah yeah, but yeah 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 yeah, right? It's like it's in the phrasing. Now the trick is this: when you're actually breathing, you don't want to make it audible, right? Or at least it has to be a very musical breath. So you're gonna breathe through your mouth like this, activate your diaphragm, and deliver your lines, right? So if it's gonna be if you're rapping really fast or whatever and you need a quick breath, then you just kind of just like this, and you lock it in. But you don't really need to hear the breathing. It's really unnecessary. Um, like for me, my nasals are kind of clogged unless I warm them up. But if you prefer to breathe through your nose, I mean, as if it makes too much sound, then breathe through your mouth. You know what I'm saying? So that's a really important thing that I think gets overlooked, especially in rap music. It's like sometimes if the breathing is too much, if I could hear the breathing sounds, that means that means that they don't have vocal training and they don't know how to breathe correctly, or they don't breathe trained as a singer. You know what I'm saying? Okay, moving on. Okay, so next thing to sound like a pro is tracking full verses. Okay, a rookie mistake that I found doing this and working with other rappers or whatever, um, is they'll record, like, let's say you have a full verse, right, 16 bars, then they'll record like a piece of it, a piece of that, and then a piece of that, and a chunk of that, and then they'll stitch it together. And to me, that doesn't work, bro. That doesn't work, bro. Because I'll give you a couple of reasons why. If you just do it piece by piece and stitch it together, like what happens when you go on stage? Are you gonna be like blah 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 blah? Wait, hold on, let me take a breath, okay? And then blah 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 blah. Are you gonna pause the song every time you need to, because you don't know how to breathe? Did you write the lyrics in such a way that there's no space for you to breathe? You know what I'm saying? Um, Another thing is when you do cuts like that, intentional cuts because you run out of breath or you're trying to make it perfect or whatever, it starts to sound unnatural. The lyrics should be written in such a way where the breathing is integrated into the lyrics. There's rests or pauses where that can happen, because obviously, uh, it nothing sounds good without rests. You know what I'm saying? You can't be rapping and spitting fire. At some point, you need to like breathe. That's part of music. Is a breath is rhythm. It can get really philosophical real quick, but breathing is music. It's part of the frequencies. You know what I'm saying? It's part of the cycle. Like every music, every if you think in like a Western historical music theory sense, everything evolved from vocals, right? From singing, and every instrument is designed to sound like a singer, you know, except for like drums or something like that. But if you really think about it, that's true in Western music. Okay. So, anyways, um, yeah. So try to when you're tracking to get to the point is that you wanna write your lyrics in such a way where there is places where you can breathe, okay, and you could record the whole verse or the whole hook in one take, right? And you should at least be good enough to rap the whole thing perfect. Now, if you miss like one little word or whatever, there's a technique that I suggest in other videos where you record the whole verse and then you record another track of the whole verse with the other one muted, and that way if you miss a word or whatever, you can just stitch a word, and it's not a big deal. Just put it in the right place, or you miss a consonant or a vowel sound, whatever, you just stitch that little piece, and if you can fix it and then it's good to go, then you're good to go. Then that's cool. But you should at least be able to finish a whole verse or a full hook, in one take, or one continuous take without patching together, if that makes sense. If your verses start to look like a Frankenstein with this take and that take and this take and that take, then you're not good enough, bro. You need to work on it until you can get it in one take, because that's not that's just no bueno, bro. That's no bueno. Okay, moving on. The last thing that I wanted to touch on, so you can sound like a pro, is Adlibs. So Adlibs, my personal opinion is that it's an art, but basically you just uh, double the rhymes. You know, blah 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 rhyme, blah 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 rhyme. So then when you do your Adlibs, rhyme, rhyme. You know, it just kind of emphasis the rhymes or the accents, or you could do like accents before the rhyme, but make sure the rhymes are tasteful and the accents are there. Then after you get those, you could do like, you know, different types of, you know, your type of ad libs that you want, like a or a yeah, or you know, whoop whoop, or whatever you want to do for those ad libs. The one thing I want to say is that I do find it kind of tacky if like you record your tracking, your verse in one take, and then you do another take, and you kind of like stack it, so you have like yourself doing the same thing in unison. Don't do that. To me, it sounds tacky. Sometimes, you know, people can pull it off. I guess there's some songs that I hear in like Tupac songs where I could kind of hear some stacking going on, uh, I don't like that. But it is Tupac, and I love Tupac, so you know, like on the Machiavelli album, I think there were some times when he did that, but I'm not really sure, or if that was his style or whatnot. But me personally, I don't really like that too much. I like a polished ad lib where everything is kind of like very accounted for, you know, and it's not too much. It's just on the right spots. That's how I like my ad libs. So, anyways, that concludes. Thanks for watching this video. But those are things to consider if you do what I suggested. Your your rapping or your singing or whatever is gonna have a much more professional sound, much more polished, and you're gonna sound like $1,000,000. So you're welcome. All right, thanks for watching.